Good afternoon, everybody. November the 24th, 2023. You know what that means. Tomorrow, Michigan, Ohio State. We're talking with former Wolverine Jerry Diorio, who joins us here on this Friday. Jerry, how are you?
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine, Denny. We're ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, well, everyone is ready to go. The last true Saturday of college football of the year. Everyone always goes by extremely fast because everybody loves it so much. Jerry, not only did you go to Michigan and play at Michigan, you are from Ohio. So this is kind of your week. Let's start there. Growing up in Youngstown, Ohio, you have an opportunity. I know of some people that can be fans of the Browns or the Steelers or the Lions. And then in college, however it works there, as a youngster growing up in Youngstown, Ohio, what teams were you a fan of?
Well, Denny, it kind of went in phases. You know, I remember back in 1969, I cried when Ohio State got beat by Michigan. But then all of our Youngstown boys started going to Michigan. I had to take another look. We had Mike Turkovac, a good friend of mine, Mike Turkovac, Ed Moransky, John Lott, all these guys, Sanford, Washington, all these guys went to Michigan right from my hometown, right from Youngstown, Ohio. And there seemed to be a real pipeline. And it just, I kind of fit in with those guys and not many of the Ohio State guys. And so, like I said, it kind of went in phases. At one time, I was an Ohio State fan, but back about in the mid-'70s, that all changed.
When you got into high school and you start, having big-time colleges look at you, Michigan started looking at you, Ohio State look at you. I mean, other schools. I mean, how did that play out?
Well, Denny, it's funny because when I was being recruited, Michigan was it. If you were being recruited by Michigan, that was like the good housekeeping seal of approval. That meant like everybody would go after you. And before that, it was kind of like Bo would take all of Woody's rejects and then beat them. And so when I was there, my year being recruited, I wasn't being recruited very highly. And Ohio State was lukewarm on me. As soon as Michigan jumped on me, it was over, and everybody started recruiting me. But I was real close with Glenn Mason. I mean, it was a real toss up there, and we had a real good relationship. But he kind of gave me an ultimatum, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go on the trip anyways. So, and the rest is history, as they say.
Okay, you get up into Ann Arbor. What were we talking about? A 4 or 5 year span. What was it like playing against Ohio State? How did you do?
Yeah, we were 2-2. I will never forget my freshman year. I was fortunate enough to play all my games that I was suited for at Michigan from Jump Street, and my freshman year, we were 8-2 going into the big game, and very much an underdog. Ohio State was coming off an 11-0 season the year before, pretty much ranked in the top 3 or 4 in everybody's poll, and we went into Columbus and beat them. And Denny, I got to tell you, when you go home to Ohio, and you're from Ohio, and you are at Michigan, and you beat Ohio, especially in their place, there's not many feelings that can match it. It's a great feeling. It's great to go home. You just can't wait. I mean, think about it. You're an 18, 19-year-old kid, and you're going back home to Ohio from Michigan after beating them on their home field. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. And it was a great experience. Had a little extracurriculars going on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving that year, and me and Ed survived it, and the rest is go on. But no, we were 2-2 at Ohio, and I was fortunate enough to win the game when I was a freshman at Ohio, and the game when I was a senior in Ann Arbor, and that is also phenomenal feeling when you beat Ohio your senior year. that stays with you the rest of your life. And I can't even imagine losing that game being a senior. I can't even imagine it. It was such a great feeling. It was such a relief to beat Ohio on your senior day, because it's kind of like your bragging rights for the rest of your life.
You don't get Hayes, right? Because 69, he would have been retired in 78. So you come a couple of years after that, but he still cast a pretty large shadow on the Buckeyes program there. And of course, you played for both. So I mean, it was still as a, like for me growing up, it was, we took national championships and all that, but it was all Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, that's the only thing that mattered. It's still kind of like that, not so much so anymore, but you were kind of right in the eye of the hurricane there.
Well, yeah, exactly. We were in the Bo Bruce wars, and Coach Bruce was a great coach, great man. I really enjoyed being recruited by him. But those were some great games. They were always very well prepared. They were always very talented football team, always hard-nosed, and you just kind of, I remember George Loja telling me, Jerry, the last week doesn't even count. It'll go by so fast you won't even know you were in it. That's Ohio. That's the Ohio week. It's a blur. It just goes by. You're in the game. You've already done your other 10 or 11 games. Now it's the big one. And nothing greater than running out on the field on that day.
I saw Mike Senior still this week, the Michigan captain. He said in the weight room, they're always reminded that they have a sign up there. What have you done today to beat Ohio State? And I've heard different players say, yeah, we might watch a little extra film during the season and watch some Ohio State. And I don't know about actually, during the practice week. I don't know if anybody specifically said that. Would surprise me. I think actually over the last 2 years, I think some players have mentioned there might be a period where they spend some time and work on some things with Ohio State. How about back when you were playing? Did you guys?
Well, Denny, I think I'm far enough removed that I can admit this.
Okay.
Yes, I did look at Ohio State when we were watching film of Wisconsin, Iowa, anybody, Michigan State. Yes, I looked at Ohio State as well. I watched them as well. And you're not going to, I think you're really BSing everybody if you say you don't look at Ohio every day. And that was it. I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who you played. You always had the film, and you could always take a look at the other side. And that was it. I mean, you're gonna look at Ohio. I don't care.
Let's talk about this year's game. Last year and the year before, Michigan broke a long losing streak. Now Michigan has won 2 in a row. They're trying to win 3 in a row. They're the favorite. They're at home. Both teams are 11-0. Where do you start when you tackle this matchup?
Well, yeah, that's what it is, Denny. It's a lot of matchups. That's a great way of putting it. A lot of matchups. We have J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. Yeah, I don't know how he fell off the Heisman watch. I mean, the last couple games, yeah. But right now is the season. If J.J. has a great game against Ohio and has a great game and beats Ohio and goes into the Big Ten championship and has another great game, why isn't he back in the into the talk? I think we have the advantage there. I think J.J. is a better player than McCord, although he's a very good ball player and he's got weapons. So. But I think McCord is a little banged up from what I'm hearing. And I don't think he's as mobile as JJ healthy. So when the two are healthy, I don't think McCord is as healthy or as mobile as JJ. I think McCord is going to be bothered by the fan noise. I'm hoping that happens. He's never played in front of 110,000 trying to lead a team in that kind of environment. This is totally different for him. This is not something you can duplicate at practice. This is something that is going to hit him, shock him right off the bat. Now, how he handles it, that's going to tell a lot about how the game goes. If we can rattle him and make him start looking at the rush instead of looking downfield, I think we got a real good shot at beating them. The receivers, we've got two great receivers. They've got two great receivers, and their one great receiver is being mentioned as a Heisman Trophy candidate. So again, here's another matchup where, I would probably say the receiving core, not by much, don't get me wrong, the receiving core, because of Marvin Harris, is probably slightly to the Ohio advantage. I think we counter that with our tight ends. I think our tight ends are better than Ohio's tight ends. The offensive line, I mean, you've got three guys coming off of the offensive line award 2 years in a row. You got Barnhart, who started 2 years, Zinner, Keegan. These guys are battle tested. They've been around. They know what the game is all about. I got to give the edge, honestly, to Michigan on the offensive line. I think we have the better offensive line. I know a lot of people have been down on some of our tackles, but when you watch the film, I think our tackles do a real nice job on the ground. And, that Penn State rush was very good. And I don't know if we were prepared for that. Defensively, I got to give our two insides the edge. When you got Graham, Grant, Jenkins, Goody, those are four very capable bodies right there that take up a lot of room and do some nice things on the pass rush. I think our outside linebackers, McGregor, Harrell, and Stewart, I think we're probably in a tie with them. I haven't seen much pass rush from Ohio State getting home. They're not one of the better sack teams or tackles for loss teams in the conference. And I think that's their philosophy this year. Don't give up the big play. Play sound defense. You're going to have to give up a step on the pass rush to be able to play the run. And I think that's what they've done. So, pass rush wise, I think we're probably even. The big matchup, obviously, is going to be Johnson and Harrison. And if we could put some pressure on McCord and try to make them one-dimensional, I think we can be very successful. Henderson is a great running back. But again, we've got two running backs that have done some great things over their careers. Donovan Edwards played in this game, and I believe he had a broken hand last year. Is that correct, Denny? Okay. Yep. He's toting the ball for over.
Yep.
He's toting the ball for over 200 yards against Ohio State with a broken hand, and we don't have Corum. So now we have Corum and Edwards. It's hard for me to give the advantage to Ohio State. Yes, they have Henderson. He's a good running back, solid running back, no question about it. But I think our two-punch is better than their two-punch. So when you look at the matchups, I think Michigan's got a 60 to 70% advantage in the matchups.
Jerry, what about not having the head honcho on the sideline? Jim Harbaugh is a big-time presence. I think everybody would agree he's one of the top 4 or 5 coaches in all of college football. He's not going to be on the sideline for Michigan. He has been there from Sunday through Monday. You're somebody, it's a good question to ask you. You're a longtime high school coach. If you were suddenly not available for a game, but then also you could put yourself in the shoes of when you were an assistant, if you were elevated, then you had to be the head coach and calling the shots. How big of a factor is it not having Jim Harbaugh on the sideline tomorrow for Ohio State?
I think the biggest thing, Denny, is we had him all week long. We've had him for 3 weeks, and this team is prepared half the season without him on the sideline. Now, I'm going to mention something where I can relate to this a little bit. A couple years ago, I had open heart surgery, and right before the season opener in 22, I was getting a little anxious. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go up in the booth. So I pulled myself off the sideline and went up in the booth. And that was unprepared. That was before the game. And we did well. We won the game. And I did a lot more up in the booth that year. Jim Harbaugh is going to be missed. There's no question about it. My big concern with him not being on the sideline is the number of hats that Coach Moore is going to have. And now, he's done it 2 weeks in a row. He did it earlier in the season. He's capable of doing it. In this game, we've got to be cautious of that because, he's the offensive line coach, the offensive coordinator, head coach. That's a lot of rope that he's got to carry, and he's been doing a great job. And I think we are accustomed now with Coach Harbaugh not on the field, and I think we're going to be okay. Remember, Denny, I used to be the guy who I would alternate the plays in, and I would be right next to Bo all the time, and Jerry Hanlon was our offensive coordinator. He's calling down the plays, telling Bo, what he did on game day more than anything was decide if Jerry's play matched what he wanted to do. And for the most part, I think they did. And I think Bo leaned on Jerry a lot in that category. And, Bo was, he was a game manager. That was what he did. And we're going to, it's a tough job for Coach Moore, but so far he's been phenomenal.
I love the story. So it went from Jerry to Bo to Jerry every other play to get to play. I remember, I was talking to Jerry Hanlon, and at the one point, Jerry and I were talking, and we were talking about Bo, and he said, "Well, what did you like about Bo?" I said, I loved it when he was just screaming into the headset. He was just on the sideline. And Jerry looked at me and said, "Who do you think was on the other end?" And he was screaming.
Are you crazy?
That part was great. Now, look, we've seen Sharon Moore, Bowling Green, Penn State, and Maryland. Those last two games, the Maryland game, there were a lot of different decisions. That was a real pressure cooker. He's going for it on a 4th and 8. He's running the ball on the 4th and 6. Michigan ended up winning that game. So I'll say, all of the things that he had to go through, the play calling, the decision to go for it on 4th down, I'm going to say all of those things are a positive because Michigan won and he went through it. He has that experience. I'll also say a lot of people are pointing to the Penn State game where it was a negative, like, they didn't throw a pass. They did, but, it wasn't official in the second half. Sharon Moore went into a shell. And, but Michigan won that game, and that strategy, you can make an argument, and I think it's a winning argument. Michigan won the game, and, that they ran the ball, whatever it was, 32 times or something. That was a positive to me about Sharon Moore. But a lot of people are taking it and saying, no, it's a negative with Sharon Moore here. I mean, how are you looking at that?
Well, here's the deal, Denny, and everybody out there that's listening, I want you to consider something when we talk about Sharon Moore running the ball so much against Penn State and just pounding it. How would you feel if we were pounding Penn State and he threw a pass and made us 2nd and long or 3rd and long? I mean, why would you get off doing something that is successful? Why get away from why you are winning the game? And until they stop it, and especially the run game, I mean, it's safe. It's easy. It eliminated their pass rush. Okay. Why would you get off doing that, which was successful, for taking a chance and just looking like we're going to just throw the ball and keep everybody honest? That's my point. I mean, how would you feel if you're looking at this game and we throw a pass when we got them on the move? We're marching right down their throat. We throw a pass, now we got a punt.
Good point. We've got some film to get to. Let's answer some questions. And I'm picking Michigan to win this game 25-20. And I think Michigan will make more big plays in this game with their talented players over Ohio State. Michigan being at home. And I think the difference will be J.J. McCarthy running and throwing the ball. That's my analysis. Jason asking you and getting to his analysis, he's saying, with how tough both defenses play, I do believe this is JJ's game to win or lose. We need him to extend plays and find wide receivers downfield and then get us a few first downs using his feet. What are your thoughts on that point?
Everything is off the table. I mean, everything is on the table now. It's go or bust. We have to have JJ running the ball. He's got to be able to run the ball. When JJ can run the ball, it takes one more person out of the box to defend Corum, Edwards, Mullings. Okay, JJ has to be able to run the ball. JJ has to be able to hit passes downfield. We're going to take a look at one pass that he threw against Maryland, and I think it was just the excitement, the anxiety, whatever. It was more of a rope than a loft. And we're going to take a look at that a little bit later. But, yeah, JJ's got to make some plays. On the flip side of that, for them to be successful, McCord's got to make some plays. So, in my opinion, I'm thinking I'd rather have JJ on this one than Kyle McCord. Putting our trust in JJ as opposed to McCord.
What about Dave thinking that the first series is going to be telling? If we run it without much difficulty, then Michigan rolls 3-0, then it could be a game-long fist fight. Well,
that's nothing new. Those are typically the Michigan Ohio State games. They're fist fights. They're brawls, and I don't expect anything different than that. I will say this: who was it that was up there? Dave.
Yeah.
Dave. I hope, I'm wondering if everybody realizes this. The last 21 games, the team that has run the ball the most and best has won the game. And so you can say whatever you want to say about the modern game, how passing, you have to do this and have to do that. At the end of the day, in this game, the team that runs the ball wins the last 21 years. So that's what's gonna happen. I mean, they're going to try to establish their running game. They're a much better running team than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. Much better. They got to establish a run game too. So it's going to be jockeying back and forth to see who blinks and gives up on the run game a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to, of course you would like to have a fast start. You'd like to have success early, but look, Michigan didn't look so hot in that first series against Penn State. And then their defense, Penn State went right down the field on it, but they bent, but they didn't break. And that was important. That was as big a series. I think the first or second series Michigan had on defense as it was all game long, because they were able to hold Penn State to a field goal. So I don't take everything away from what's happening in the first series or even the first quarter. I mean, Michigan was down to Penn State last year. Things weren't really looking so hot in the first quarter at all. And a lot of the second quarter until JJ fouled Cornelius Johnson, until he hit him that second time. And actually Michigan was down at the half to Ohio State last year. So yeah, I'm looking at this one. You can look at it any way you want, but Jerry, 4 quarters in this game. And, both of these teams, you want to say, in 21, it was the trenches that won the game. It was Michigan's offensive line and Hassan Haskins, and it was Ajabo and Hutchinson being able to get to the quarterback. But last year it was more of the skill players and the big plays. I already mentioned Kojo, but Donovan Edwards and McCarthy was able to find Colston Loveland for a 45-yard touchdown. Those are gigantic plays, big plays. So you have both of those years, and you can go to a lot of different ways to say this is what's going to be big, and it can be in a kicking game. It's going to be, I know by watching the Lions yesterday, Jerry, that don't turn the ball over, stay on the ball game, field position, and
Well, Denny, you said a mouthful there. Turnovers. That's going to be a huge part of this game. We have to secure the ball. We cannot give the ball to Ohio, and we've got to create turnovers. We've got to get some turn. We got those extra possessions are what win ball games. When you can be a +2 or a +3 on an opponent, the percentage of you winning that game goes up dramatically. Just like blocking a punt, your percentage of going up in defensive scores, the percentage of you winning that game goes up dramatically. Denny, everybody's all worried. Last year, we had to have a last-second field goal against Illinois without Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards with a broken hand to beat Illinois. Maryland, this was a tough match. I heard Scar talk about this on Monday, and he hit the nail right on the head. This was a dangerous team. It was a dangerous game, and it was a dangerous matchup. We're going to look at some really good opportunities to get better in this game because of what Maryland presented. They presented a team that can throw the ball with a phenomenal quarterback. This guy, he makes mistakes. There's no question about it. Talia, he makes mistakes, but this guy is good. He puts the ball where it needs to be put, and he hit us a few times. And I think it was a good wake-up call for our secondary. And I think our secondary got tested, and I think they're going to be ready to go.
All right, Jerry, I want to hear your opinion on how you think this game is going to go. I mentioned I think Michigan is just going to make more big plays than Ohio State, and J.J. McCarthy will be the difference maker in the fourth quarter. OT is not prescribing to my theory on the game. He's thinking that it's not going to come down to big plays, but it will come down to consistency. There will be a lot of 3 yards and a cloud of dust. You mentioned Jim Scarcelli. He thinks it's going to be a very low-scoring game. Give me your thoughts. A high-scoring game, a low-scoring game, the trenches, the skilled players. Where are you coming down when people ask you, but just how you see this one playing out tomorrow?
I can see two teams possibly in the 20s. Hopefully they're in the teens. And hopefully we're in the 30s. So it's going to be in that 45 to 50 points over under, I think, in the game. So that's my thing. Yeah, and I agree. It last year came down to big plays. And I think Ohio State gave us opportunities to get big plays. And they are priding themselves this year on not giving up big plays and making teams go the distance to score. And so I think whoever it was with consistency, I think you're right. I think this game is going to start off with a battle on the field possession. I think field position is going to be extremely important, especially in the beginning. And then the team that doesn't make mistakes is going to win this game.
All right. With that, how about we walk through both sides and look at some film and some of the things that you have looked at when it comes down to this game. How about that?
Absolutely, Diane. Absolutely. Let's take a look at this one right here. This is what really separates Corum from everybody else. When you look at this play, Maryland plays this thing pretty doggone well. We get a good movement on this 5 technique right here, this defensive lineman. We get good movement from Jones and Barnhart caving him in. Jones gets up on the backside linebacker. Great. Everything's good. What happens here is this outside linebacker comes down and meets Bredesen right away. And he is constricting the hole. The hole is not getting bigger. We got Zenner pulling around, and he gets met in the hole with the linebacker. What Maryland does, the mistake that Maryland does, is these two guys don't stay home. Defenses have to stay home and play square against Michigan, especially against Corum. Watch Corum. Zenner comes up, gets met right there in the hole. Watch the linebacker come up, meets Zenner. Those linebackers were real tough, too. Those linebackers came up. Watch this backside over here. These guys over here, they're peeking in here. They want to make the play in here. Well, that's the wrong move. You got to stay home. You got to play disciplined defense when you're playing against Michigan. Okay, we're going to go to the next play. All right, inside zone from Deuce. Again, something that makes Michigan dangerous. Here we have Loveland lined up in the slot position right here. He's in the slot position. Comes in motion. All this is inside zone with a kick out. Watch Corum. He's eyeballing this linebacker. When the linebacker commits to one hole, Corum goes to the other hole and picks up great yardage on the play. Watch Corum hit the hole. He sees the linebacker unblocked. Look at the cut he makes. That is tremendous right there. And then he just kind of runs over the linebacker because he's got the momentum. The linebacker staying square, shuffling down the line. Corum's got the momentum going forward. He sees the outside the linebacker coming in, and immediately attacks the other hole, which is a great run, great play by Corum, outstanding. Okay, I'm going to talk a little defense here. This is a tough play right here. This is a very tough. It's kind of an RPO. What makes this play, Denny, is all this protection that Maryland gives Talia. They fake the dive. The tight end does a great job blocking out on Stewart. Who's this? Moore comes up on the run. He's got to protect this A gap or this C gap right here. That's his job. His also job is to play this tight end. And so when the tight end blocks out, Moore comes up, and then Talia just tries to hit him right behind it. It's a great play by Maryland. Just the execution wasn't done well, but that's a tough play to defend. And Maryland offensively is a very, very good football team. They can put some points on the board. They're a very explosive team. They do a lot of good things. They're led by a great quarterback. All right, Denny, you are not going to be able to duplicate this with the scout team too much. And this was what was great for Michigan this weekend. We got to see a Class A passing attack with a great quarterback and very good receivers. These receivers are probably I would take these receivers third in the Big Ten. But these receivers, I think that's Prather up there. And Talia, he made us pay a couple times on the deep ball. A little bit off on this one, but I think Johnson now knows he's got to come to play. He's got to come to play against Harrison. And so this was a good matchup, a good tune-up for our secondary. And I thought we did okay. I thought we did pretty well. There were some mistakes, but again, you also have to say the mistakes that were made were because they made plays and not so much that we were out of position. So this was
I love it, Jerry. A lot of talk, rightfully so, about Marvin Harrison Jr., but Will Johnson is a hell of a player. That particular matchup is the game inside of the game that we're all riveted to watch.
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, Denny, I'm going to sit here and say this. The team that runs the ball best is going to win this game. Marvin Harris is going to be a factor in that run game because if we can play him with Johnson, then we have more guys to stop the run. If we have to help Harrison or help Johnson on Harrison, they might have a little bit of an advantage on the run game. So we've got to put pressure on McCord, and we've got to make them more of a one-dimensional team. Okay, Denny, a couple weeks ago we watched Purdue, and we were playing Purdue, and we ran this counter tray. And what happened was Loveland tried to get inside, and it was right after the bye. And I said, these are the little things that I think we're going to get better on. We're going to change that. And I said, Loveland should go outside the log block. These guys are squeezing down. They're squeezing that tackle real nice. They're playing flat down the line. Here we take Nugent and pull him out and log the outside guy. And Loveland sees that and continues outside of the log for a linebacker. So this is how this play looks. We've got all this going down here. We got the double team coming down. We got the backside sealed. We got Nugent going to pull around and log this outside linebacker. Then we got Loveland coming around for the linebacker. One other thing I want to point out on this is this is an ineligible receiver right here. This guy is covered by number 1. And the reason why you know that is because these 4 guys are in the backfield. He's motioning, and he's in the backfield definitely. So you can only have 4 people in the backfield. He's ineligible, but they still have to have people out here. They got to have people out here. What if we throw a screen here to Johnson? They'd have to have people out here to account for it, and that's what makes Michigan's offense very difficult. Also on the ineligible or unbalanced line, what I should say, sometimes defenses make a mistake and actually play the extra player out there on the ineligible player. And so now you have 2 people in the box that are extra.
Yeah. How often do teams do that? They don't do that often, flare a guy out and have the ineligible guy that far out, do they, Jerry? Or does that happen a lot?
No, Denny, and that's what I'm saying about Michigan's offense. Is they give you so many different things to look at that you don't see all the time.
I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that either.
We play with tight ends. We play with the fullbacks. We play with traditional offenses that are untraditional now. And so I think that's what gives defenses a huge headache when they play Michigan. The different formations, the different motions, all the different things that are going on. We just make you always think. You're thinking all the time on the defensive side of the ball. Denny, when Keegan makes a play right here, offensive linemen are playmakers just like anybody else. When you got an offensive line that can dominate the line of scrimmage, like we did against Penn State, when you don't have to run the ball, those are playmakers. Those are playmakers. And I can tell you right now, as an old offensive lineman, I'd much rather block for the run than I would for the pass. And our offensive line has done a great job all year running the ball. Keegan makes this play because I'll tell you again, these linebackers were real good against us. Excuse me. They were real good. Watch him come up and meet Keegan right in the hole. Keegan makes this play because he stays square, blocks the linebacker in the hole, right at the hole, and then Corum makes a great cut and makes a play. Those are good linebackers. Watch that linebacker, Denny. Boom. He's up on Keegan right now. I mean, he's delivering the blow, and Keegan's actually behind the line of scrimmage. That's not Keegan's fault. This kid just came up and made a heck of a play. Barnhart gets down on the backside linebacker, and this double team right here, Denny, between this guard and tackle, when you can push the 3 technique inside the guard and get that tackle up on the linebacker, that's what really makes plays go. And we've been doing that all year long. We are making the outside combo blocker get on the linebacker, and that's really nice. But this is a great play by Keegan, and I'm calling him a playmaker on that play. He did a great job staying square. I'm going to go back to it one more time. I want to point out, watch him stay square to the line of scrimmage, and he meets him square. Look at how square he is. See his shoulders square there, Denny?
Yeah.
He's squared to the line of scrimmage, and he consumes that linebacker. The linebacker gets a great pop, but Keegan just consumes the linebacker, and he can't make the play because he's busy trying to get off Keegan's block. So great job by Keegan there. Great run by Corum.
It's fascinating, Jerry. So many times you watch it, and I think as fans, you can tell when a guy just plows somebody into the ground or something. But even before, Colston Loveland just beating somebody in the backfield, you don't even have to. If sometimes a good block is just getting in their way and barely chipping them a little bit, and like what Keegan did there, you might say the linebacker got into him, but he got his job done there and was able to get positive yardage. I know he's getting a pat on the back in the film room, but the fans watching that, they're not picking all that stuff up. I like it.
Denny, here's the thing about offensive line play. I played offensive line for Michigan. I was undersized. I was 225 as a sophomore, starting as a sophomore at offensive guard. And believe you me, we had 300-pounders. We had Bubba Paris, Ed Moransky, Kurt Becker. We had some big boys on the offensive line, and somehow I got to play with those guys. But the one thing I think that I did, and I see Michigan linemen doing a lot, is they get engaged with the defender. They get engaged with the defender. They stay engaged with the defender. They keep their feet moving, and then they bury him when the defender reaches. You hit the nail on the head, Denny. When the defender is taking on a blocker, he's not making a tackle. Hat on a hat. Keep your feet moving. Stay engaged. You're going to have a good football play. Okay. Inside zone. Again, this Mullins, he's I love this compliment with Corum and Edwards and now Mullins. Mullins does a great job again, setting up this linebacker where he sees him filling one hole and Mullins bounces out to the other hole. I think if Keegan stays a little bit more square here with Nugent, I think he could pick up this linebacker coming over the top. But let's watch this. See how you see Keegan's number 77. You don't want to see that. That's something you don't want to see. What you want to see is square shoulders. Once he does that, he can't pick up that linebacker. If he were to stay square, he would have been able to pick that linebacker up. And now it's Mullins, running through arm tackles when people are being blocked. So again, this is something I think we'll probably be looking at in film, and I think Keegan's gonna get this corrected. If we stay square here, I think Keegan picks up that linebacker right there. You see it, Denny?
Yeah, I see him. I see the 77 for sure.
You see big 77. Once you turn your shoulders, you can't get this block. If he stays square there, and I got a feeling he's going to be doing that against Ohio State. He's going to be staying square against Ohio State. All right, Denny. This was a play that we ran against Penn State, and I think JJ carried the ball on it. But it's kind of like a buck. It's kind of like the old buck play, pull out the guard, kick out the corner. Everybody's blocking down, and we're going to get people in the alley. What hurts this play is the penetration of this guy right here, this outside edge player right here. Loveland, I think, is too far removed. He's not going to make this block. What this defender does is he gets penetration, which knocks off Barnhart's path. If Barnhart stays on his path, I think he's got a much easier kick out. But now he's got all this space. You see that, Denny? You see how Barnhart's getting knocked off his path?
Yeah, he kind of curls around instead of going straight. Yeah.
Now that corner can play and he's got a two-way go. The corner's got a two-way go. And I don't know if this backside linebacker makes the play if we get the kick out. We have Zinner and who else is that? Johnson? No, that's Morse down in the alley. So we've got blockers in front of them. If we get that kick out without that penetration, I think this is a much bigger play.
Does he just get pushed on his shoulder there a little bit, just knocks him back maybe a couple feet? That's why he takes it.
That's all it is. And, we talked about this last week. It's a game of inches. That little bit right there throws this play off. And that's why we weren't successful on this play. That little bit of penetration right there killed that play. Okay. Edwards is playing well. He's starting to really get better. I want everybody to watch this run he makes because at the beginning of the season, people were questioning his toughness and how tough is he? Is he soft? Why is he getting brought down by one-arm tackles and all that? Well, there is that junior curse, and he's playing through it now. Watch this linebacker right here. He's unblocked, Denny, and this is the same guy that just met Keegan in the line. Watch him come up and meet Donovan Edwards in the hole. Nobody blocking him. He comes up and meets Donovan right in the hole. Watch Donovan keep his feet moving and gain that extra yard. That's a great play. That's a great run by Donovan Edwards right there. What Bo used to say, I could tell you what kind of running back they are when they come out the other end of the pile. And Donovan does this right here. Great job by Donovan Edwards right there. We need him. We need him to play well. He needs to be the man. Okay. Now let's look at here you go, Denny. Here's your short yardage again with me. We're running away from the strength. Here's Loveland. Loveland is the strength right here. Look what Maryland does when they see that strength. They put the extra defenders over here. So they're thinking, well, Loveland's over here. They must be coming over here on this side. Loveland's going to lead, kick out, and Bredeson's going to lead up into the hole. What we do is we fool them. We go away from strength. And instead of pulling the backside guard on a true power scheme, we're pulling the front side guard, which I called that with a G scheme. That was a G scheme. And what that does is it puts an extra man there for us. We don't have to worry about a double team or anything else. We block down. Zenner kicks out. Bredesen leads. And Corum does the rest. But I just like that. Look at the hole that happens because of that kick out. When that tight end goes down, that number 2 defender has to go with them. He's got to squeeze that hole. And so when he does, he opens up the hole in the seed gap, and Corum exploits it and goes right in. I love the way our short yardage and our goal line has been all year. Just been very, very good. This is probably the biggest play of the game. Now, the reason I have Varner circled here is I'm trying to explain a formation here. What we used to call this trips. Now, a lot of people are out there saying, well, there are a lot of versions of trips. This is trips. There are times when you have a tight end here with 2 receivers and a receiver over here on the quick side. But this is what I would call trips. Tight end down here, 3 receivers to the top of the screen. This is the biggest play of the game. And this is why Sharon Moore has got my confidence all big time. He is confident. He's confident in his players. He's cool and calm on the sideline. And he's just doing a phenomenal job with matchups. And what does he do here? He brings Loveland in motion. He only needs 3 yards. He doesn't want to run the ball here. Totally understandable. Sends Loveland, who I think is the best tight end in the Big Ten. And Loveland does what I call a little Q route. So he starts out and then comes back in. What is really good about this, everybody talking about how bad JJ was, this is a hell of a throw. Excuse my language, but this is a heck of a throw right here by JJ. Watch Loveland. He does that little Q. There's 3 guys in that triangle right there. You see that, Denny?
Yeah.
There's 3 guys right there for Loveland. That's a heck of a throw. Now, the other thing I think helps this, if we remember correctly in the first half, when JJ threw the interception on the goal line, I think everybody could see that he was just staring down the receiver the whole time.
That's right.
I think this time what he does is he kind of stares this linebacker down, giving Loveland a little bit of time to just engage in that area and then throws the rope. But let's look at JJ. Watch his eye. He hasn't going to Loveland yet. Now he's going. You see that, Denny?
Yeah, subtle.
It's a subtle little thing. Watch his helmet. The wings aren't showing yet. Now the wings are going, right? And he puts a bullet right on Loveland. That's a great, great play. Phenomenal play. Phenomenal call by our coach. Great throw by JJ. This is Coach Moore being a seasoned vet, calm, prepared, and confident. It didn't take us any time to get into that play. We knew what we were doing. And that's a great compliment to Coach Moore. He's very prepared, very confident in his players, very cool on the sideline. He's been doing a great job with that. Okay, now we're going to take a look at this last play here. Very uncharacteristic. I don't think we've seen this much this year. Interception, punt, touchdown, punt. We are one of the best teams in the country on scoring possessions percentage-wise. In other words, the percentage of times that we get the ball, we are scoring at least field goals and most of the time touchdowns. I think we're right up there 1 or 2 in the country in that stat. And so this was very uncharacteristic. This was what the offense did all year, all day long. And that's why we don't have a lot of highlights for our offense. We were very uncharacteristic in this game. I see us a totally different team this week. Okay. Basically, this is a 2-man route, Denny. It's a 2-man route. We're going to watch this corner just sit. And again, why is he sitting? Is he sitting because he's worried about a tight end crossing, or is he worried about a receiver crossing? What's he worried about? But he doesn't even go with Johnson. Johnson is basically one-on-one with this free safety. What we do is we run a little dig route here, which takes care of this corner safety. He's out of the picture. Now, all this field over here, Denny, is wide open. All that field is wide open. What JJ does, I think he gets a little bit anxious, and he tries to throw a rope. And the ball is so hard, Johnson can't even get around to make that play. The ball was thrown so hard that CJ can't get around and make that play. I think what you're going to see this week is JJ putting a little bit more loft on the ball. I think this could be open again for us. We know that they're going to have the run game prepared for. They're going to want to stop our run, which is going to give us opportunities for this. I don't see JJ missing this 2 games in a row. That's it, Danny.
I don't either, Jerry. You know, I don't. I think what I saw from McCarthy, you know, last year, JJ, you know, he was pretty good, except he wasn't, whether it was on the same page, just obviously didn't have the success with his receivers down the field. Now, Andrew Anthony could have caught one against Illinois, and there were a couple other ones that maybe, you know, you'd have thought, but really he didn't play. He played his best game in terms of throwing the ball down the field or putting it all together in Columbus, and he was able to do it. And so, and we've watched him, whether it was against Bowling Green, bounce back the next week, you know, and, you know, people are worried about his mobility, thinking that he's a little bit banged up. I think it's a good sign. There were a couple good signs. One, that he showed up on Monday to the news conference. You know, if he's really banged up, I don't know if you're going to have him out there on Monday, you know, and he talked about, you know, getting treatment and feeling pretty good. And then, you know, the reports that he's been practicing in full, that, you know, from the Maize and Blue Review, that, you know, you feel pretty good about him getting out there and being able to have all of his full arsenal ready to go. And then, you know, how much, you know, he'll lay it on the line, being the hockey player that he is, you know, in front of the hometown fans in a place that he's never lost as a starting quarterback. So I think
I can tell you, Denny, I can tell you, I had an ankle injury my senior year in high school. And remember, I'm a recruit. I'm a pretty good sized recruit. And I had to miss the first half of the game, of our first game. I got hurt in the scrimmage. We were scrimmaging Massillon, and I couldn't, it blew up on me. I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. I wasn't ready to go until the second half of the first game. After that first week, though, the improvement was tremendous. Ankle injuries, they take about a week to get ready and get out of you. And I think JJ's going to be just fine. I got a feeling.
To hear that. Are you got more film, or you want?
I got a little bit on Ohio State. Just want to show you. Just a couple little things. Here we're going to see Travion Henderson, very good running back. Very good running back. Kind of blew this game open, because if he doesn't score in the second half, McCord's being hurt and all that, it might be a different game. Because if you look at this score in this game, Ohio State scored in the second half with a Henderson 75-yard touchdown and 2 interceptions that put them on the 6-yard line and the 15-yard line. So this is a much more conservative team than they have been in the past. But this is Travion Henderson. I got the guard and center circled there because this is something new from Ohio State. They're pulling a lot more this year. And now they're pulling the center. And I'll tell you what, pulling the center in a gun, that's a tough thing to do. We do it all the time. Now they're starting to do it. But that's a tough thing to do. And it's tough on the defense because now you actually get an extra guy out there blocking on with the center. So that they're more of a run team than they have been in the past. This is Trip Trainaman, and he is their backup. And I would say that Edwards is better than him. I think Corum's better than Henderson. And we're going to find out tomorrow. But this kid is a very capable backup running back, and this is something that Ohio State really hasn't had in the past. This kid can run. He's a hard-running kid. He puts his shoulders down. He delivers a blow. So he's a good backup. Kyle McCord to Marvin Harrison Jr. This is the thing that Harrison does. He puts you in a position where you got to get off the ball on him. You can't be up in his nose because he could go right by you and burn you. But if you give him too much space, this is what he can also do to you. He can take that, 8-yard pass and make it 28. Okay?
Got to tackle him.
You got to tackle him. You got to keep him in front of you. But you can't miss tackles like this. This is the kind of stuff that will give them some confidence and some momentum. We cannot allow that kind of stuff to happen. But that's their McCord to Harrison combination right there. And they've been effective. Emeka Ibuke. This is the young man who caught the pass against Notre Dame late in the game. I don't know how you let this guy go down the middle of the field, especially when Harrison was hurt. But Ibuke went right down the middle of the field and caught a nice pass. This guy seems to be the one that they want to hit in the middle of the field. He's the one that they seem to hit in the slot position. And that's just way too much.
Yeah, maybe
too much cushion.
Let these guys get free releases right down the seam.
I mean, this is way too easy for Ibuke.
Yes, it is. That was way too easy. You might want to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Help me out with this name. JTT,
yeah.
Okay. And Jack Sawyer. These are good edge rushers. I mean, they seem not to be getting upfield as fast as they were a year ago or 2 years ago. But I think that's by design. I think they're more into stopping the run and then pass rush after that. But these are two very capable outside edge rushers. The good news is I think they're more bull rush than Penn State's outside guys were. I think Penn State's were just pin your ears back and go, whereas these guys are a little bit more physical and get into the tackles a little bit more that way. If that's the case, I think we're in better shape. We're in better shape because I think our guys would much rather perform inside a telephone booth instead of out in space. So these are their two edge rushers. And that's what we cannot do. Turnovers. That's the first of two very nice field positions that Ohio State has claimed right there.
All right.
Okay. Jordan Hancock and number 1, Davison Igbenussim. These guys are leading. They're in the spot for forced fumbles and interceptions. So they're in the top 25 in those categories. Very capable DBs, and they're being practiced. I mean, they have to go against Harrison all the time and Ibuke all the time. So they're going to be well schooled in the pass. But here's number 7, and again, turnovers kill. Now you Denny, they just had 2 possessions inside the 15-yard line in the second half because of turnovers. Look at the score, 27-0. We just saw 2 touchdowns by big plays and broken plays. And so this is what we cannot do. We cannot give up the ball, and we cannot give up big plays. Okay. This is, I think Eichenberg was missing. So this is Cody Simon replacing Tommy Eichenberg. He seems a little bit light, very good in pass coverage, but a little bit light against the run. I'm expecting to see Eichenberger this week. So there'll be a little bit more stout in the run there. That's it, Denny.
Well, I'm in. And as far as JTT, it's actually it kind of, when you look at it, Tui Moaloa. Hopefully we don't hear a lot of his name. He got planted into the ground by a backup tight end from Michigan last year, but hopefully you don't hear a lot of Tui Moaloa's name tomorrow.
No, you remember last year he had a great game against Penn State, and you didn't hear from him there against us at all.
No, he sure didn't. Michigan did a great job, and Michigan. The tackle position. If I could, there's a lot quarterback I would pick. Who could have their best game against Ohio State, but the second position that I would pick would be the Michigan offensive tackles. I feel pretty good about not that I don't feel good about them, but I feel like if they could put it together and have their best game. Not every game can be your best game, but the Michigan offensive line, specifically their offensive tackles, if they could put their best game together tomorrow, I think feel even better about Michigan's chances of coming out with the victory tomorrow, Jerry. All right, Jerry, what do you before the game? You take this. I know you want to keep things kind of just kind of business as usual. You don't need to really hype anybody up, but they have the odd dynamic of Harbaugh is going to be with the team, and then when they go to get on the bus, he's going to be just wait. I don't know how they do that. Does he go in? Does he just all right, boys, see you after the game? Does he give them a rousing speech, before they get on the bus? I mean, how do you think they handle that?
Well, I think they give him. I think he gives them a SWAT talk. He reminds them about some things, and he sends them on their way. And then hopefully at the end of the game, when we beat them, we helicopter them in, keep everybody in the bleachers, helicopter them in, middle of the field. I'm just being funny now, but wouldn't that be something?
Hey, I would have him. I don't know if he can be in the football office, but there's a golf cart that and an escort that could get him. I don't know if he can be in the stadium or not.
Denny, I just heard the end. I don't know if this is true, but I heard from a source, Tony Anise at Ferris State. You know who he is, right?
Head coach up there. Yep.
Okay.
The cigar smoker. Yeah.
The cigar smoker. So they suspended him for one game, which is the playoff game. I heard he was in the first row at Grand Valley for the playoff game. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard. But
I've heard of a lot of people talking about, can Harbaugh get some communication in? Obviously, he could get some communication. Could they hardwire some communication into the press box where they could relay something down for him? I don't know. Maybe they could do some things like that. Is he going to have something, at the halftime where he can, impart some of his wisdom? I'm sure, that he could. I don't know what the rules are. I'm pretty sure that he is not supposed to be in communication with anybody up into the press box or anything like that. But I don't know. I even know if the rules don't do it on a Michigan phone. If you're going to be sending a text, I don't know.
Yep.
Who knows? All right, Jerry. I've got Michigan winning the ball game. How about you?
Hail to the victors. I got Michigan winning.
There you go, Jerry. Great job, and look forward to you. Talking with you about how Michigan will do against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game.
Can't wait, Denny. Can't wait.
Can't either. That's Jerry Diorio. And join us tomorrow after the game. Hit that like button. And we love those 5-star reviews on the podcast.